So now we're gonna make the armor. This is a large project, so make sure to take breaks. If you get frustrated, that's okay. It is pretty complex, and there's a lot of literally, moving pieces. But we're gonna take it step by step. I'm gonna show you what the decoration portions are and the foundations and what we're gonna start with. All right, so we've got the two foundation pieces of the armor. You'll notice that on one side it's kind of smooth, and on the other side you can kind of see the corrugation a little bit. I'm going to curve the armor in so that it's keeping the corrugation side on the inside. I'm going to start curving it like this. This is going to help it hug my body. And I'm going to curve it all the way across, just like that. And then as I curve it, I really want to crunch this, okay? I'm really gonna like roll this up. Okay? Okay, that's good. Now, it's gonna help this to hold that shape. Now I'm going to curve these so that they will go over my shoulders. So I'm going to curve them like that. All right. And as you're folding it, you can kind of test it out. Put that over your shoulders. See if that works nicely. That should curve and go about halfway over yet. So this is the front. I'm going to put this over here and I'm going to curve the back. Okay. Great. So we've got the back portion and the front portion. The back portion, you'll notice, has longer sides. So these are going to curve in like this. And then this is going to sit on top of it as a compression style suit of armor. Instead of it just being one solid piece, this is going to help it flex and also be easier to take on and off. All right, so we're going to try to figure out now how far I want these to overlap so that it'll fit me, okay? I still want to be able to get my head out from this portion of the armor. If I can't get my head in and out, it's not really going to work. So just make sure that this is big enough, okay? So I found that it's about like three fingers of overlap for me. So I'm just gonna put a piece of tape here, and then I might just put another one right here. I'll do that on the other side. And I'm not going crazy with the tape right now, because if I find that I need to adjust it, then I can just take the tape up and shift these shoulder positions and re-tape it. But I'm gonna tape that there and then put it on and see how that feels. All right, I can get my head through, that's good. I'm gonna squeeze the two pieces of armor around my midsection. Feels good. Bend over, move around, move my arms. Okay, feels good. Now I'm going to reinforce these parts here. So if I were adding decorations to a flat surface and then I tied down I cinched down the belt and went like this, they would all just go pop, 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 and the tape would rip off and everything like that. So what I'm going to do now is attach the belt system however I like it, and that will help it hold this curved surface shape. And even though, you know, curving things and attaching them is a little tricky, it's going to be better than, you know, what would happen if I put flat stuff on, you know, a flat surface and then try to curve it afterwards. Just would wreck itself. For this video, I'm going to use some rubber tie. This is bike tire tube that I got from a bike shop. You can go in there and ask for a popped bike tire tube, and they will often give you pretty much more than you can handle. And you can just cut this up. It works great for strapping, for armor, and for belts, for, you know, holding up your scabbards and all kinds of cool stuff. I'm going to use this for this video, but your kit probably came with some strapping, some of this like cloth webbing. Eventually rubber tie might get a little worn out and could rip, so that's why I suggest using the strapping, but the rubber tie is also totally fine, and it's a great solution if you don't have that other strapping. I want the belt to run right across the middle of this portion, so I'm just going to tape it up here, and I'm going to tape it all the way to the edge of this front part right there. Okay, and the same on the other side. Okay, now before I start putting on the decorative pieces, I'm going to tie this up in the back so that it'll hold this curved shape. I'm not going to add the clips just yet. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to attach these two pieces. These go here, and they curve around like that. I'm going to start by crunching them on the corrugation so that they'll fold around the curve of the armor. This is kind of like the love handle decorations. All right, so I've crunched that, and I'm going to put that right here. I'm going to match up this edge right here with the edge of the armor foundation. All right, time to add the other side. I'm going to try to make it so that they can get as close to meeting in the middle as possible. If they don't actually meet, that's okay. I'm going to crunch it up. Tape. So we've got these two side pieces on, and they didn't meet up in the middle. That's okay. There's going to be a chest piece that goes over and covers this area, so aesthetically you won't see this gap. Now we're going to add these sides on there. We're going to need to shape these so that they fit to the curve. All right, that works pretty good. I'm going to tear this pretty thin to attach this down. Okay, that's good enough for the moment. I'm going to do the other side. All right, pretty good. So you'll notice that these pieces don't meet right here, but that's okay. That's going to help alleviate a lot of the like tension and stress as this flexes right there. There's going to be a piece, this front plate, that covers that area, so you wouldn't even be able to tell. Now let's put this chest piece on here. So I'm going to start by flexing this And then I'm going to start flexing these sides here. Just like that. Then okay, so that's going to go on top of this. All right. Once you've lined up this curve with this curve, you can pretty much go from there. This should be in the middle. And then I think this point should be in the middle of the strap, and then these should be pretty much on the edges of the strap. Okay? Now, I would recommend really crunching these down. Okay? You don't want to be fighting this shape as you're trying to attach it. You do want it to have, you know, a little bit of an element of like a second layer, though. You don't want to completely flatten it. Looking good. Okay, now I'm going to add this next layer. This is going to go on the chest plate here, and then those are going to wrap around the shoulder parts. I'm going to bend this, bend it a little bit more so it follows the curve of this plate here, and then I'm going to bend these down so that they will follow that same curve. I want this edge to line up with this edge, and then I want this part, this little shape right here, to line up with this shape down here. Now this may look really crazy and tapey right now, but once you paper mache it, it's going to look really good. Okay, I'm going to start taping down these parts. So I recommend taping all this down much more than it is. This is just to show where things are placed. Okay, now let's add the centerpiece. This is kind of like a diamond shape. Fold that up there, crease that, crease that. This is going to fold in like that. And I'm going to tape this together here with the sort of the shorter side and the longer pointier side here. I'm going to put that right up in there. So it will flex with this surface. You can just put it there and then kind of decide where you want the point to be. In this design, the point kind of comes up over this portion. Just like that. So now I'm going to push that down here, get that tape into those edges. Okay, looks good. All right, now I'm going to add the two dots on either side right there. I'm going to fold up some tape first and then add that there so I can place them first. And then once I'm satisfied, I'll tape them down more heavily. You could also like hot glue those. That'll make it easier. And then once you paper mache them, they'll be nice and securely on there. I'm gonna tear some tape and tape those down. Whew, careful, I almost just gave myself a paper cut. Alrighty. Well, that looks great. So this is like the ab section. I'm gonna punch out these pieces and add them on here one by one. That way I can kind of tell how they're supposed to be arranged. So I'm gonna add these rolls of tape to the back here, so then I can reposition these pieces as I go, just in case I have to move them around. So that is about there, I think. These ab parts are a little tricky. They're intended to be spaced apart, just like they are on this sheet. But when you're actually putting it on here and building it, you might find that there's not as much space. Okay, it's looking good. Might need a little adjustment, but that's okay. So these parts line up with this bottom here, just like that. I'm going to bring this piece in a little. Okay. That looks pretty good. It is a little wider here. That's okay. I'm just gonna go for it. So now that these are on there, I'm gonna tape them down. You could also hot glue them before you mache it, and that would work too. Probably save you a lot of tape. Okay, as you're taping these parts, just make sure that you really push the tape into the edges and the corners. That way you'll still get that definition. You didn't do all those cardboard crunches just to lose definition, right? You might find that you need to bend these shapes just a little bit to match the curve of the stomach area. Alrighty, that looks great. Good job. Alright, so I'm going to flip this over and we'll attach this piece. You're going to want to start by curving it here. And if you want, you can also curve this a little. The back is probably going to be a little more flat than the front. So you won't really have to curve it too much, but, you know, do what you need to do. All right. And basically, I just center this in the middle, and I try and line up this shape down here with that, and this part with the neck shape right here. Okay. Okay, and I'm gonna attach this up there with a couple pieces. So I highly recommend that you go back and attach this fully with tape, because there's a lot of small shapes and you really want those to be solid. All right, great job. So I'm going to show you how to attach the clip. You could still, put a strap underneath here and then still clip it there and clip it here. But I'm going to show you how to attach it the way that I normally do it. So that's just right in the middle. So I'm going to attach one side of the clip here, and I'm going to put it slightly over this way more, not directly in the middle, because then when I tighten it, it's going to be in the middle, and then I can just clip it like that. So I'm going to have this piece slightly over to the left, and then I'm going to tie it. If you've got the webbing, you could staple it. By webbing, I mean this strap stuff. I don't recommend stapling the rubber tie because that's going to put some holes in it and eventually it's going to rip. I would just tie it a couple times and then you can trim off the excess. Now, when you're attaching the other side, you're going to want to put the strap up through this part, the slot that's closest to the tines, and then back down through the farthest slot. Okay? That way you can pull it and it will tighten up. There you go. Easy on and off. I would leave this strap until you figure out exactly the right fit, and then you could tie this or trim it or whatever. All right, now let's make the shoulder sections. This is going to be the shoulder armor portions. That is going to look like this. Okay. These are going to attach to your armor with a bit of cardboard. You could also use rubber tie or a strap, but I used cardboard. And then I paper mache'd over that. Okay, so we've got the two pieces of shoulder armor. I'm going to show you how to make one, and then you can just repeat that for the other side. So I'm going to show you how to make the shoulder armor that's going to be on the right side of your armor. That means it's going to sit on your right shoulder. So you want to start by shaping these pieces. You want to curve that down like that. Curve this. And you want to curve this just like that. So now what we want to do is we want to create, for our shoulder, we want to create this like under effect where you can really see the layers kind of like cascading down. So on the inside, instead of like this, it kind of looks like that, right? And if you attach it there, then it's going to hold this kind of bent shape also. So I'm going to take a piece, attach it here. And then bring this up, bend it, see what it looks like from the side. Kind of want more of a curve. Yeah, there we go. Now I'm going to tape that on there. I'm going to attach my thumb to the piece. All right, now I want to put some more tape on the inside. I essentially want to keep this part from folding down in like that. So I'm going to add a couple pieces in here. I'm going to pinch these a bit right here, and then I'm going to add some tape on the side part, just like that. Okay. There we go. Now, what I want to add next is this piece. So I'm going to crunch this here, and then I want to form this to sit on top of this piece, like that, okay? There's going to be some material on the inside here. That's okay. This is kind of just like a big popped collar. So I'm going to attach this piece here. All right, and then I'm going to attach this on either side. Okay, and then I'm going to do that on the other side too. All right, that's pretty good. Now that I've initially attached this piece and it's shaped the way I want it, I'm going to attach these sides a little bit more. So I'm attaching more tape on the inside and on the outside of this piece. Okay? Now, let's look at how I want this to be on my shoulder and how I'm going to attach it with this piece. This might take a little bit of time. So what you want to do is figure out where you want to place the armor, okay? Your head is going to be here, and you don't want it to be too close up because it's going to interfere with you being able to turn your neck. If it's too far down, it might catch on your arm. So just try it out, figure out where you'd like to put it. So I would suggest putting your shoulder armor about halfway on the strap of your chest plate and having it bend right here, okay? We gave you a pretty long strap of cardboard, so I would recommend attaching it to your armor first. You could do a number of things. You could bend the cardboard around and then bend this so it has a nice secure attachment. You could also just put it there and then attach more of the strap to the armor. I'm just going to go with this. You could also use rubber tie to attach it to your armor as well. You might want to do that if you want more of a flexible situation. That's up to you though. Okay, so I'm going to put a piece of tape on this strap. I'm going to put it right here and then tape it over the edge. Then I'm going to tape this down here. I'm going to make sure that it can still flex. And then I'm going to tape this side too. All right, you can even add some tape around the strap too, which couldn't hurt. Just like that, and then I would add a bigger piece around like this, and wrap around the edge. That way it's nice and reinforced. You're gonna paper mache this too, so that'll really help to keep it secure. And then you can work this strap and bend it. Notice that the corrugation is running in this direction. That's crucial. It's gonna make it last a lot longer. And then tape it right on here. You could start by putting a little loop right in there, and putting that on there. And then that'll help hold it on there while you add more tape. Okay, I'm gonna flip this over just like that. I would recommend just really going for it with the tape, because this part is going to flex and you're really going to want it to be secure. Okay. Good job. Woohoo! All right, so you've got this shoulder armor done. You're going to want to do the other side. Now, remember, you're going to want to curve this piece in the opposite direction. You're going to want to curve it like this so that it wraps around like that. Okay? Okay, the other shoulder armor is on. All right, looks pretty good. Good job!